Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 46th episode of Book of Hours, our first run through House of Light, playing as the archaeologist. And I think this should be the last episode for the week. So, we're trying to get an early start on the salon. We're also buying up some various ingredients from Cater and Hero, not just for this salon, but also to prepare me for a little bit more diversity in terms of the dishes. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get a second element of the soul after this one. And then TRN, we're also going to get some, we're going to get, I think, 2 pheasants and plums. Nope, 5 sugar. Too much. So we'll send the Cater and Hero order off right away. So this one needs 45. Complete the order. The postmistress signs and seals the order and places it in the place that stamped orders are properly placed. Wait 3 days, she commands. Alright, so we've got the plums, 2 pheasant, and I think that's all we really need. I do have some other options in terms of things that I can order, but I think, first of all, we're short on room, and second, I'm actually okay with sort of where we're at stock-wise. Better now. Okay, so with all of that, I think probably I'll just start by making the dough. So that's a question of flour, butter, and the mixing bowls. Mixed dough, an ingredient for a higher purpose. Okay, so we'll get one more pheasant, seeing as we're going to be putting the one we already have into the game pie. There we go. So that one we only need 12. Shilling will do. The postmistress will accept the off 18. Post a completed TRN order form. Complete the order. Postmistress signs and seals the order, places it in the place that stamped orders are properly placed. Wait 3 days, she commands. And of course, this should take us through to winter. So we're going to be waiting for all the stuff to arrive, but we certainly have more than enough to work with to get the salon ready to go. In fact, I could probably just pour the various drinks and all of that right now, but I don't quite feel an urgency for that. I am most curious about whether or not we get hit by Numa. So it's not at the end of the world if we do. We don't really have much in terms of persistent memories that we want to hang on to. And we do have a few more elements of the soul than the last one, so that we should be able to make something of it if we do. What do I do with this? I wonder if I can move the mushroom. Yes, I can. Okay. So I'm going to need some kind of alcohol for the pickled pilchards as well. I think maybe I'll just make some Eigengrau to save myself the trouble. I also made, I have a couple of lists. So I think the core group that I want to keep inviting would be Strathcoyne, Wakefield, and Schaller. And I think the fact that Zachary has a partner, like there's a pairing with Corso, sort of means that I have 4 people who I'll regularly bring in. And then just the thing is that Daymare does seem to complement my existing elements of the soul. So it does seem a little boring to keep inviting the same people over and over again, but there are actually some good reasons for hanging on to them this time. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. We're definitely redoing the invitations from last time. But we'll see. Like if there's another reason to do these things, I will, I'll adjust. But for now, I want to see, okay, fog. This may mean, okay, so we're into winter. Also, we are getting near the end of the in fact, at this point, the Advent calendar would be finished, but I still have a couple of days left. So it's been a while since we have checked the tree. So we have the Awakened Feather, alive to every draft and spark. Rose Pearl, surprisingly common in these waters. Moly the gods call it, and it is hard for mortal men to dig, but with the gods all things are possible. A Chronsicord, a music box that only performs once, a typewriter that can only send one message, a clock that can only strike now. A Flushed Mommet, a crimson-stained little cloth doll with Mary Button eyes and a frill of twitching ribbons. A Dear Day lens, fiendishly simple and wretchedly fragile optical device. A fiendishly simple and wretchedly fragile optical device. And mackerel. Eat it while it's fresh or keep it while it's salted. So I think it's quite appropriate that we will we'll turn that mackerel into Christmas dinner. I'm actually quite happy how that turned out. And then, of course, we get further adventures in terms of the affair of the Endless Guest. So, an inhabitation of worms is never to be taken lightly. In this case, worms have chosen to inhabit one Spencer Hobson on assignment by the Bureau in Krakow. Hobson has remained unusually articulate for an inhabitee, and apparently he considers the worms his guest. So I'm going to make another... I think we're going to make some more dough before we go any further. Okay, mixed dough, an ingredient for a higher purpose. So that should cover me for the plum croutons and the game pie. We want to make the Eigengrau for the... oh, actually, I should also come up with something to do with the fog. So the 2 candidates here would be Nock and Moon. There is actually a small argument that I should prioritize Moon because it's the higher of the 2. But let's, well, all things being equal, it's the higher of the 2 because the who is it? The Fisherman has higher level Moon, but we'll think of both of them. So if we use Reverend Timothy, first of all, we're going to need to talk with Reverend Timothy. So he'll have 1 knock. Then he'll get 3 from the weather. Now we don't have a knock tool, but we do have Shapt. So that brings us up to 6. And I guess there's not a whole lot going for me when it comes to knock and food. We can give him some tea for an extra 1, but so 7. Yeah, we can get him up to 9 in terms of knock, but it's not the sort of thing I really want to move heaven and earth for. So I think we go with our original intuition and talk about Fisherman. So that's 2 Moon. So the weather. That gives us 3. So from here, the Tryst gives us 1. So 5, 6. Then as far as tools go, we get the one from the lunar globe, so that brings us up to 7. And then there's always that awkward question in terms of what do we do with the moon. So if we want to feed... Yeah, so actually the Pilchards... Pilchards give 2, so that brings us up to 9. And then there's the question of the drink. So that's where I think we start to run out of steam a little bit. So I know we've got the Isle water. I'm just trying to remember if we get any better moon from any of the other drinks. I'm not entirely convinced that we do. Actually, there's probably the Evening Isles. Nope, hang on, because it would have been flashing if it did. Yeah. Okay, I'm maybe a little surprised we don't have more moon options for drinks. So I guess there's the Isle water and then there's the Eigengrau. Okay, so let's say we can get up to 10 with the moon. What does that practically get me? So there's the Shrouded Space. This would be helpful. Unlocking the Noctonary both gives me... it gives me both a another workbench, probably some books. One thing that I'm a little reluctant on is it does give me winter. So I can't open it with winter, and that's something that I can already use with Mr. Kill. We're 1 short on the rustling stairs, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. The heart-haunted room feels like that would be a waste. Wilfold Spring, we kind of have the same argument as the Orchard Keeper. The thing is, I know with the Orchard Keeper we could open that already. Okay, so all told, what do I want to do with 9? Yeah, sorry, I should also remember it's 9, not 10. So yeah, Fisherman with 2, Weather gives us up to 5, Tryst gets us up to 6, the Tool gets us up to 7, the Pilkers get us up to 9, no, and a drink gets us up to 10. Okay, so knowing that I have 10, we've got the Shrouded Space. The Echoing Chamber really is helpful with Nona's desk. The Veiled Chamber, again, I believe that would get me some books, and it's not that that's a bad room to open. Okay, so I'm getting closer to something here. The last question is always needs to be, does this give me access to a special book of any sort? Like, is there a Moon or a Nock book that I really wanted to read that I feel differently about? I feel like I should be reading a couple of these a little sooner. Okay, the 3 and the 3 Kerisham manuscript. So I'd have 8, 9. Okay, so I can basically get a 10. So yeah, I mean, if I want, I can try pushing up Edicts Inviolable. Not so convinced that we can handle the Secret Colors. And then for Nock, we are a little less equipped as far as Nock goes. I think Doran Wall is my best bet here. So 6, 8. We should probably prepare for an 8. So, I mean, Cardia's Delights isn't a disaster. I can read Great Signs and Great Scars. I suppose the question is, like, does reading this book really give me something that opening the room wouldn't? I'm really not convinced by that. I can see how, like, Wrapped in the King or Durasio Quercum might be something I would rush to read, but I'm not entirely sure that this book gives me something I would consider essential right now. So I think I'm going to say we will hire the fisherman and open up the room. Which of course means I'm not going to bother reading. Well, I may read certain books, but that's not going to be the major priority for today. So, assistance from a fisherman. In winter, when the storms close the seas, the fishermen will offer their services for $1 a day. Fishermen will offer moon and a little sky, alternatively add a soul card to find rarer guests who might be seeking employment. Okay. I definitely want to do some gardening here. I'm trying to remember if any of these... Okay, we do get Lenten, what rose in winter. I may go for that. I think I can wait on that, though. Now, I'm also inclined to use the core to prepare for the salon. So I'm happy enough to move forward with this. And we also don't know who's visiting. The fishermen's assistants. Fishermen in this part of the world have a reputation as smugglers and worse than smugglers. Those days are past, mostly, and mostly they just catch pilchards now, but they still remember the words spoken in silence to the moon and the sea. So we'll start by employing the tryst and the fog. Secret sorrows may join our strengths. I should also do a little bit of an audit of the various books that I can read now, because things like Udrokas and the Tripled Heart, so clearly something like Tridesma Hyra is something that I should consider leveling up, and I tend not to consider it just because it's not on this shelf right here. But again, we have other things to do, so I'm not going to worry too much about it this time around. Comes, neither of us knows yet, but we will. All right, also for the whisk. So I was holding back on the whisk because I thought I might use it for something else, but at this point we should probably be trying to make the Eigengrau. I'm trying to remember... Yeah, that'll do the trick. Eigengrau, distill a kind of possibility. I may try to make more than one of those, but we'll see. I don't think I quite have what it takes. Talk about the weather, more useful than one might expect, especially in Britain. Should also probably be making a bit of money here. There's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. Sorry, I was a little scattered today. I was blinded by the Christmas decorations. The other thing I should probably keep an eye on in future would be whether I can take advantage of the weather for dealing with some of the curses that I have. So we need Heart, Nectar, Winter, and Forge. So in this case, no, but I don't want to rule the possibility out. All right, there's the dough. So notice here, I did deliberately keep the core aside. I did want to pick the, I did want to still make or do the various, I wanted to get the various flowers. I wanted to do the gardening, but I didn't want it to exclusively be that. So here we're going to make the bread and the game pie. So I think we'll start with the game pie. So bake a game pie, a dish with forge, heart, moth, rose, scale, and sky. All right, Dr. Yvette Southey, playwright, philologist, psychoanalyst, as happy with questions as with answers. So the fact that I do not have Erica Payne suggests to me that we don't have her in the book yet. Usually a fair assumption anyway, but so I would really like to, I'd like to talk with her as soon as possible. But in this case, I do want to make sure that we deal with our sort of immediate needs. She is looking for moon or winter. So we will be able to oblige. And she eats anything. All right, let's just see how the day goes. Let's take advantage of the weather while it lasts. Actually, yeah, we'll still help the individual anyway, but for some reason I think it was Serena that we started the book with. I do want to double check the names here though. So we've got Douglas Moore, Olympia Bichet, Arthur Moore, Fraser Strathcoyne, Daymare, Zachary Wakefield, Father Stanislav Schaller, Senior Corso Reverte, and Serena. Okay, so yes. I do need to help her, and I do need to add her to the book and invite her back. Which gives me something to do with the tryst, actually. Let's hold off on that, actually. I can lend my assistant something to help increasing their abilities. You'll still be able to use this tool. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that I gave the tool ahead of time just because it takes 30 seconds as opposed to the minute to make the ink. Few flowers flourish in the depths of winter. Blue crown is one of those few. And I'll confess I'm a little surprised we didn't have more blue crown. Definitely it's helpful for the tea. Of course, where I store it is a whole other question, so it'll currently decorate the kitchen. Oh, I do have... Alright, I don't regret it, but clearly I didn't need to go crazy on it. This is a pretty straightforward choice. I'll just pour a glass of water and restore the health. Okay, pour it out. This may also be an opportunity for me to drop the water. A quick nap in a warm bed with something comforting to drink while the winds chase the clouds and the clouds chase the sun. And then I'll want to double check where we're at with the fisherman. Okay, so Eigengrau is just one moon, one winter. I mean, I suppose I can feed that to the... It doesn't really matter which order I do it in, although certainly Eigengrau is larger and so harder to transport. Right, the stools boosted their aspects appropriately. I'm just going to take a quick minute here to make sure that I've got everything I was originally planning on. So with the fisherman, we've got the weather, we've got the tryst, we've got the tool, and it's the pilchards and the drink that remain. So a nice drop. I can offer my assistant something to drink. That brings them up to 8, so we wanted to get them to 10. We're on track. I think for winter we'll have Christmas dinner in the refectory. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. It is winter and the storms have tightened the seas. I am sitting before the fire in the sweet bones with a beef and potato pasty in one hand and a hot ale posset in the other. Now once I've finished with the fisherman, we will help out Dr. Southey. It's a little tricky in these situations for me to decide like whether or not I want to generate any memories or not. I haven't really put too much thought into that, but for now, I'm definitely focused on food. Game pie, pheasant or snipe or woodcock or rabbit, and tasty pastry. Oh, this is a big one. Okay, so I think we'll make the bread next for the plum croutons. I believe it has to be the bread and the... yeah. So baked bread, a dish with edge, forge, heart, and nectar. Down to the Grussians. Alright. Finally, Pilkards. Offer something to eat. I can offer my assistant something to eat. This will increase their aspects. It's also just friendly. So as far as... it's worth taking a minute here to think about next steps. So as far as the day is concerned, we'll be getting a health back in about a minute. We've got the fishermen wherever we want them to be, and I can't really see... like, I don't really see a lot of situations where I need them to generate memories, especially given the fact that we want to help out Yvette Southey. So I believe we were going to open up the Noctonary here. Doing so, I'm just taking a minute to work this out. Okay, so... nothing's really changed as far as the calculation for the books go, so I don't think it makes sense for me to read a book right now. I can definitely use the Tryst to make more ink, or I can use the Tryst to go to Crowcross Sands. I might even split the difference, but in this case here, I'll definitely make one more ink because we're going to want to invite Dr. Southey back. The real question here is what I want to do with the metal and the shaft. Now, I can see a situation where I'd want to catalog a book from the shrouded space. I don't fully remember which rooms have books or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were books inside of it. So that makes sense to keep the metal free for now. But yeah, I can't see a situation where I'd be generating any memories. So I think once we've leveled up the fisherman, we're going to talk with Yvette Southey and open up the room. What I may also do here with the health, so there's two options that I have. One would be to, actually, you know what? I'll use the health to drop the water, and then I'll regenerate either a core or a health to cook more. All right, the sustenance has boosted their aspects appropriately. So there's the fisherman. The shrouded space. If the wards on this place were real, they would be heavy curtains of black velvet that stung the grazing hand. They aren't real in any meaningful sense of the word. I'll still need to dispose of them before I can enter safely. All right. Dr. Yvette Southey, playwright, philologist, psychoanalyst, as happy with questions as with answers. Hello there. Got a moment? On the endless guess, I'm here about Hobson. The Bureau has invited me to interview him, assess him. I don't think I want to, but I don't think I can pass up the opportunity. All right, so a nice little simple winter text would be best. We should have a couple of those. Yeah, introduction to the histories. He is worm-inhabited, they say. I only half understand what that means. I rather fear the Bureau doesn't either. I don't expect to be able to help him, or them. Honestly, I want chiefly to assure my own safety. I have some idea of what precautions I might take. I hope it'll be enough. Thanks, librarian. So yeah, I keep putting this off, but I should really take some time to figure out what I want my next like books to be. I should sort of move them around. I am going to renew the core. So if I just take a look at my list of dishes that I want to make. So pickled pilkards, although technically we already have that. Game pie is done. Poached mackerel, plum croutons, and roast potatoes. So all of those things do involve they do involve some use of my elements of the soul. That may actually be something I use the shaft for. So in this case here, I'll maybe leave one of these shaft aside just so that at the end of the day I can make back a little bit of money. But right now I'm going to try and recover whatever elements of the soul I can. Did I forget to put... No, we still have something in here. I can't see myself... At this time, I can't see myself restoring the heart. So I think I might actually go... Oh, this is a tough one. Nope, I think I'm actually going to use the heart to cook. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, there's the bread. Let's make the plum... Oh, I'm not quite ready for the plum croutons. Now I'm ready. Make plum croutons, a dish with grail, heart, and nectar. I can actually scooch the pickled pilchards I already have over onto the table. All right, there's the extra cat wink. I think I'm going to try going to Crowcross Sands this time around. What is the sea seeded today? It's just because we already have what I need for all the other things, so it doesn't quite have the same urgency as the others. And I think, honestly, with the amount of time I have left, I'm probably just going to want to convert all of this into money at this point. In fact, I may have... the shop may be a spare. All right, the Night Gallery. In the 1850s, and in deep secrecy, Natalia Brulot built the Night Gallery into the foundations of the Gulskry Tower. Behind this heavy steel door, the Curia, and later the Suppression Bureau, kept treasures too difficult for common view, but too relevant to consign to a deeper vault. If anything difficult might hypothetically have been inclined to creep up the stairs from below, it would have been discouraged by that door. So there was one book to catalog, which is good. We also have Thomas de Wolf, the second Baron Brandkrug. I think that's mentioned up here. Yep, Thomas de Wolf, second Baron Brandkrug, who they called Baron Silence, built this observatory in 1576. By happy coincidence, just in time to observe the passage of the Great Comet in 1577. And you'll, of course, notice... Probably wouldn't need to be told, out of all of these, you probably wouldn't need to be told that this one is Baron Silence given his gesture, but there we go. Number 2. I can't recall, I don't think we have any more de Wolf busts. Oh, no, here it is, Walter de Wolf. So clearly there's only one spot left. Do we have the Journal of Walter de Wolf, I wonder? Of Musgrave. I know Journal of Walter de Wolf is one of the... There we go. Third Baron Brandkrug. So just never got around to adding him. But anyways, so all the de Wolfs are in place. We have a few empty spots. And of course, this is the difficulty with playing this game a few times now, is that there's no mystery in terms of the... you know, the various librarians, but it's nice to sort of motivate the placement of a bust when you encounter a book or some other interaction. Now, we definitely have something we want to do with this uncatalogued book, so let's go to Ambrose's desk and catalog it. This book was probably written around the time of Hush House's Curia period, roughly the 1700s to 1800s. If I examine it, I can learn more about what knowledge it might contain. And there's a few items inside here, so let's take a time to inventory them. I know we're at the end of the session, but it's very unlikely that I'm going to remember this over the course of the week. So, rose pearl, surprisingly common in these waters. Lethe, a dark and syrupy liquor favored in unnamed forest villages. The first end, a single candle, burns against darkness. Its flame is the crescent moon. The wheel still turns. A shining spoked wheel with a vaguely organic look turns beneath a full moon that holds her finger to her lips. Our benefactress, evidently someone who donated to the Curia but preferred to remain anonymous. As above, so below, a framed page of illustrated vellum. Up close, the colors dazzle and puzzle. Crowcross Sands at high tide, a gloomy study of the sea in gloomy weather. The boy prays. There is no sign of a boy in this distorted, menacing image, and no one seems to be praying. Our benefactor, evidently someone who donated to the Curia but preferred to remain anonymous. A bargain. A serpent laps at the blood that drips from a sewn-closed mouth. Leaves in the wind, a soothing but undistinguished work in oils. Someone evidently was good at trees and wanted you to know it. Chack, Valentine de Wolf's magnificent green cockatoo. The painting is signed by Valentine himself. The first answer. A vast moth spirals towards a burning sun, alone in a star-specked void. We've got Thyrsa's cordials. Separately, each is undrinkable, but mix them, and they're only undrinkable after 15 minutes. Honeyscar scented candle, the candle scented with honeyscar jasmine. Arsenic, a poison sometimes known as the message of the swan. Gideon Soaks, a therapeutic collection of beneficial bottles. Whispering Sand, white silver sand, in which the voice of the waves lingers. An urn of ashes, some poor soul who probably won't mind if they're repurposed for a worthy experiment. I probably wouldn't. And finally, the Nocturnary itself, constructed by Thyrsa for her own murky purposes, maintained by the Suppression Bureau for its murkier ones, and available now for mine. So we still have the Shadowed Stare, which requires a somewhat powerful memory. Now again, I can use the Wild Surmise whenever I want for that. Or can I, actually? Yes, because it has Lantern. Or Sky, for that matter. And we've now also got the Broken Bridge. This is a big one because of what it describes. Broken bridge. The jail bridge still stands, but charred and twisted, it groans dangerously in the wind. A fire, then. But what fire does this? It's as if someone had trailed a match flame along a bridge of wax. On the far side, the gate stands wide. When the bridge is repaired, I can enter the jail. Okay, I think I'm going to... Well, let's... I know we're a little over time, but I do want to get a couple of other things set aside, and that's just because... What I'm really looking for here is I want to make sure that I'm not... I want to make sure that I'm not wasting the shaft or anything. Okay, so we've got Yvette's card and a bronze spin trio. So, I mean, can have a conversation with the fisherman. I suppose, like, I can try and see what I can pull off with this, but I just don't think in the course of a minute I'm going to get anything that I can work with. We do have Pilchard still. It's just all of the moon tasks that I have are going to be 8 or higher, I think. Yeah. So let's just see if there's some memories that we can generate. In this case, I just made a mistake. All right, the Affair of the Endless Guest, Zachary Wakefield opined that Hobson, who had been his friend, might now be his friends. Faced with a choice between out and down, he chose out. Daymare, unimpressed by the Bureau's claims of expertise, set off to Krakow to make sure that the seals restraining the worms were kept to her standards. And Dr. Southey went to interview Hobson in Krakow, but came first to Hush House to ensure she understood the hazards that might entail. Okay. So we're going to want to find a way of using the occult scrap to free things up for Yvette's card. There's nothing stopping me from, being able to just overwrite it, but ideally I'll find some use. And in this case, with Knock, Moth, and Rose, the most likely candidate for using the scrap would be Reverend Timothy, which of course creates something of a challenge because we can't actually access him right away. And I did learn that the name day riddle doesn't work for the shadowed stair. So I may want to think about some other steps that I can take. Okay, now for the rest of the day, I'm going to... Okay, so this, yes, I'm going to want to have a think about this. So with the Shapt, I'm going to be able to use that with the Rest and Refreshment Winter. That'll get me the core back, so that's fine because I can do some more cooking off of that, but I've got 2 Shapt to use and less than 2 minutes to use them in. So none of those will let me do anything with the Forge. Can probably do something with the Amethyst Ampule. Yeah, you know what? So let's take the Shapt. I'm going to do some experimentation here. So metal and fuel. This will work for both. I suppose the real question is, do I have any better candidates? Well, right now I'll put the metal in here. Now, I'm not going to use this. This is just so I can see what's going on. And with that in mind, we'll use the Curious Hunch because it gives me a bit more. So for these, the aim here is just to see whatever knock things I can make. Okay, so we've got Glassfinger Toxin as an option. Looks like it's going to be all Glassfinger. Well, I can make a Chronsicord. It's a little much for that early. I would be shocked if... Okay, yeah, we've already done this. Now I can make the Gervanite. Well, I can make the Gervanite if I give up the Gervanite. So the way I'd do that would be combine these two. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't know, giving up 2 things for the 1? I feel like there are better things that I can do here. So reviewing again, I can... Okay, so I can actually make a Glassfinger top... I'm going to have a little bit of a think on this, actually. So if I can easily make the Glassfinger Toxin now... Yeah, well, okay, all well and good, but there's no way I'm making the Sacrament Assite with this. But I don't think it's a big hardship for me to toss a couple Amethyst Ampules in if that means that I get a Glassfinger Toxin out of it. Because I can definitely see some future situations where I want to use... where I'll want to use it. I'll make some Amethyst Ampules for the future, for sure. For now, I'm going to just recover my my shilling for the fisherman. All right, better now. It's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. And we're almost done the plum croutons. Really just wants to be at the end of the table. Okay. One should never make this with plums that are not ripe enough to eat. One is quite serious. Okay, as always, I want to just double check that I'm not duplicating effort. So pickled pilchards, game pie. All right, poached mackerel. Or roast potatoes, but we don't have any potatoes out, I don't think. So let's make the one thing that I can make, and that's our Christmas mackerel. Eat it while it's fresh, or keep it while it's salted. Poached mackerel, a dish with forge, heart, or moon. Okay, so I'll have the potatoes to deal with, and then I'll have the drinks. But we're more or less ready to go with the salon, which is a bit early for us. I will add Yvette Southey to the journal, or the writing case. Note Yvette's address for what you might call an occult correspondence. Will they come when you do call for them? Occult scrap, secret histories are layered beneath the one we know, like the notes in a rare wine. The librarian knows this well. Okay, and I think that's it. I always like this one. De motu corporum viditorum. The author rejoices in the name... Oh, sorry, this is a different one. I was thinking of... is it Opus Magnum Ceruleum? Anyways, the big blue business. The author rejoices in the name of Abelard Hubris, and the title might be translated as On the Forbidden Motions of Bodies, evidently a reference to Newton's De Motu Corporum, published some 20 years previously. So we're... Oh, this is the one, Opus Magnum Ceruleum. All right, so we are definitely full up on books. Let's move you down one. I'm sure I just disrupted the order here, but sue me. Not that bad. Okay, and I think we are well and truly done. I really just don't think there's a whole lot for me to do here. So we can generate all the memories. I mean, that's really just keeping the fisherman busy. But at this point, really... Oh, actually, there is one other thing I can do. I can write the letter to Yvette Southey, seeing as I'm going to want language lessons from her. Ah, right. I need the, actually need to put it together. And I'm curious why I made it this location, although I believe the wolf stories will still see me through. Oh, but I'm already using the wolf stories. Sea stories is Grail. Aronoscopy. There we go. Request Yvette's presence. I have enough here to craft a letter inviting Yvette to Grand Krug. And that's for the language lessons. Now I just need to post it. Now I am curious, I don't really see any reason for me not to send this off right now. Patience, thus the mountain awaits the fall of the snow, thus Monday awaits the death of the weekend, thus the postmistress waits for me to purchase the necessary stamp. Stamp, envelope, send. So it'll take a minute. But it just means we're going to be talking overnight. The postmistress examines the letter and deems it sufficient. It'll go with the next post, she assures me. And a stolen secret. I'm sure this would be helpful in certain circumstances, but I can't see how I'd use it now. So we will keep the wild surmise unless I want to use it to open the shrouded stair. And there we go. I think that's it for the day. I can try... yeah. Okay. An hourglass sand. An hourglass, of course, is sand contained by sand. I want to try and not let the house be overrun by sand in this playthrough, but we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, that's it. Obviously, a longer episode for tonight, but we got through basically everything that I wanted. I'm also happy to have another book, although it's not necessarily one I want to focus a lot on. I do probably need to spend some time opening up the rooms, but the thing is, spending the time opening up the rooms... that strikes me as something that I may want to do after I level up some of the skills that are like easy for me to handle. So I think probably the order that I'm going to handle things in, I will host the salon, and I'll actually host that reasonably quickly. The only thing that I really need to add at this point would be the roast potatoes, and that's 2 elements of the soul away. That's actually something that I could accomplish with my health alone and still be able to do the salon. We may, yeah, actually, I think we'll probably do the salon tomorrow, because I used the health to open up the sack of vegetables, and then I used the health to cook the meal, and then we just send off the invitations. Although, if that's true, I believe I need a revelation to bring Corso in. So maybe I'll just use my whist for that. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, and I need to pour the drink. Okay, so I'll make sure that I have the drinks that I need, but I can probably do the salon tomorrow. The reason I kind of want to push that ahead is being able to know what lessons I have to work with, level up the relevant skills, and then from there make some decisions in terms of what books I read. Will sort of put me in position to start thinking about the different rooms that I want to open. In most practical terms, this is the season that I'm potentially going to get snow for weather, and seeing as I can't yet get the Wormwood Dream from Edict's Mark, like I might be able to give it a shot, right? I've got 6 moon with Tryst, so realistically that means I need 2 moon memories. And of course, now that I've opened up the Nocturnary, right, I have this one and this one for 2 memories. So this is an intuition and a confounding parable. And then we use Mr. Kill to basically open up, half of the rooms we haven't worked out yet. But yeah, again, it's just a question in terms of how I want to spend my time. Having to use 2 elements of the soul to generate a Wormwood Dream, which I then use to level up a character. Obviously that involves, oh, you know what? I will use the Fisherman to open tea with the Rector. I think that gets me gossip, so I don't think that helps me. I don't think tea with the Rector will help me write the letter to Corso. But that's how I can use the... I mean, it's an expensive way to get Reverend Timothy. Usually just a spare element of the soul will handle it, but that's fine. All right, before this becomes an hour-long episode, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you had a very nice Christmas week. I guess yesterday's was Boxing Day's episode. All right, we're now in the long march to... Oh no, we've got New Year's. After that, it's a long march until we get any holidays. But I hope you have a nice weekend. We'll see you next week. Take care.